One of my big mysteries in life is to find out why Brie Larson smiles. Because during the Avengers, people pointed out that superheroes are supposed to be approachable and they're supposed to smile, but her character never smiles in the movie. And the, I guess, feminist ideology politicized the human smile. If you tell a woman to smile, it's oppression, even if she would do a job that requires people to smile, like being a superhero or working at McDonald's. But anyway, right, so this Nissan commercial comes out, and initially I thought it's a big thing because it's like, oh, it's another get woke, go broke commercial. And as I'm watching it, I think, well, it's not that bad. But then I see a lot of people complaining, and I give it another look to try to understand why people are complaining. And I think I have the answer. Now, when I say it's not that bad, it means I'm comparing it to something else. And I'm comparing it to the Gillette woke commercial. Now, the Gillette woke commercial was incredibly mean spirited, and it also didn't advertise the actual product. Because if you looked at previous commercials where people are being advertised razors, they would usually show a man that is very handsome looking. They usually hire male models to be the actors in those commercials. So realistic expectations there. And he is shaving. And as he finishes shaving, there's this hot, beautiful chick coming out from behind him. And it's Gillette, the best a man can get. So what they want to point out is that if you use their products to shave, you're going to look like the man in the commercial, but not only that, you're going to have the hot chick in the commercial. So that is like what they're trying to do. It's like our product is very good, they make you look handsome, and you're going to attract girls. That's why you need to purchase it. But in the Gillette commercial, the last one, they didn't advertise the product at all. It could just as well have been a commercial for a university campus, for all we care. And it would have worked. But at least it would have been more honest. But in the Nissan commercial, they actually advertised the product. They actually showed the car, and they actually show how it's supposed to drive. And it says, oh, okay, the car doesn't compromise on anything. Like, it wants to be good at everything that a car can do. So that's why it's not as bad. At least it shows the product. Now, why do people still dislike the Nissan commercial? And I think that what it does have in common with Gillette is the preaching attitude to the public. And the people are fed up of millionaires and billionaires that own these corporations to lecture the public on how to be good and decent citizens. And it's not even a dialogue, because if you go to their comment section, they gave the comments disabilities. So it's preaching, what is, and people don't like to be preached. Now, corporations having moral values and also being there for the good of society, for preaching the cause, that is under the ideology of fascism. Like, legitimately, a lot of people are being told that fascist is bad, but they don't get to be told why or how the regime works or how the regime functions. Like, a lot of people associate fascism with racism, but that's not true. And this idea of corporations existing not just to make money, but to spread a message, to spread public awareness, they're selling razors, but they're also acting like moral entities that want to lecture to you how you should live your life. This is legitimately under the doctrine of fascism, where corporations are acting like moral entities. And then you look at what exactly is it preaching? Like, is it actually preaching a message that is embraced by the community as a whole? Like, I don't know, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Or is it something that is very revolutionary in its messaging, something that is embraced by very, very few people? And in the case of Gillette, it is a revolutionary message. It's like, we live in a society where you shouldn't approach women on the street, ever, under any circumstances. And the only way to hook up with a girl is on the internet. Like, how are companies like OkCupid, Tinder, Facebook are supposed to make a buck if you decide that you can approach women on the street the same way that your mother was approached, your grandmother was approached, that, it happened throughout the human existence, yeah, companies will suffer. So no, you go out there and you log online if you want to hook up. You don't do it in real life, ever. But that was the message. And then it's this message that distorts reality. Like the premise for the entire narrative is broken. Because they're saying in the Gillette commercial that men as a class oppress women as a class. And then there's the undertones that it's only white men that get to do this. And I'm telling you this because they removed the picture of a black rapper from the YouTube commercial where the black rapper was singing and there was money falling from the sky and there were some skimpily clad women next to him. They removed that specifically because through the intersectional lens it made no sense for black men to be the oppressors. Now, in the case of the Nissan commercial, it also distorts reality to a certain degree by suggesting that men as a class are oppressing women as a class. And therefore, every time a man inconveniences a woman in any way, it's not for legitimate reasons, it's because of the patriarchy. So what we see is a man refusing to promote this woman. We don't know why, but he refuses to promote her this quarter. So it's not like she gets fired. It's not like she gets never promoted. It's just like not right now. And there can be different reasons for this. Maybe the company is not doing well. Maybe she didn't work as hard as some other woman might deserve the commercial. We don't know. But what we do know is that Brie Larson decides to take this woman for a ride and commit a lot of criminal activity with her and endanger the population. Now, don't get me wrong. I have seen a lot of car commercials and none of them show people doing traffic violations for the sake of them. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I personally never seen it. And if they would exist, I would not like them. Yeah, I don't like these commercials that show blatant endangerment of public safety. Now I get, fine, speeding. Okay, maybe some other car commercials do show, a couple of people speeding. But I have not seen, speeding in the middle of the city for literally no good reason. And then when she sees a traffic jam, she reverses. Why? I mean, you do jeopardize people's lives by reversing at the high speeds that we see in the commercial. Like, this is happening in the middle of a city, right? I mean, if she would do something like this in reality, she would get 3 tickets, probably some jail time because she's clearly high, or at the very least, she drank some alcohol. And you would get your driver's license stripped for a year. And you'd also be fired if you go back at the boss with attitude. So yeah, it's this ideology that really annoys people at this point. And whenever you push for feminism like this in a commercial, people remember all the previous commercials where feminism was being pushed. And they remember being insulted, stereotyped, and humiliated by big corporations. And they're just going to take their money elsewhere. And the fact that you're not even allowing them to speak by disabling the comment sections piss them off even more. And the moral of the lesson is really bad. It's like, okay, so if the boss doesn't want to promote you now, then go at him with an attitude and start screaming and shouting. Like, how does that work? You'd get fired if you do that. They wouldn't tell you what you need to do. Like, what you need to do is to keep your job. Because I made a video about this. Like, keep your job and go look for another place and renegotiate your salary. Because this is the whole thing. Like, when you go to an interview and they ask you, how much money do you want to make for this job? They ask you because they have a range that they're going to put you in. So let's say they can go anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. And you need to wiggle and negotiate within that. If you say, I want $3,000 for this job, they will give you $3,000 for the job. If you do not know how much you as a person is valued, it's kind of really nasty to talk about it this way, right? Like, you as a person has a dollar sign above them. But the question is, like, how much money do you make the company if you're hired? Because let's say they pay you $7,000, but your position at the company is earning them $20,000. You don't know. There's no way of knowing. But they do. The marketing team knows exactly how much you're going to make them. So once you negotiated that salary, once you go to a company and you say, yeah, I want $5,000, and they go deal, and they give you $5,000, even though you could have gotten $7,000 easily, you can never negotiate. You can never renegotiate again. So the only way to renegotiate is to go to another company. So this is what the woman should have done. Should have kept her job if she's really that unhappy, kept her job at that corporation, and file for some resumes at other 5 or 6 corporations and try to renegotiate her salary there. And maybe there she can get a promotion. But yeah, so this is why I think people hate these woke commercials. Number one, and this is the biggest reason, it cancels out discussion. It makes them look like preachers, and it's, I don't want multi-billion-dollar people preaching at me. All right? They can preach to each other. It places controversial people that the media likes, but the public doesn't, as their figure. And once the controversy starts, they make a Pikachu face. It's like, how did this cause controversy? And the unrealistic moral lens that they view society from, and the lecturing they give to people that are supposed to be their potential customers. Now I'm going to lecture my people to tell you that I do have another channel where I don't talk about political stuff, and please check it out. And I also have a live stream channel. The link is into the description of this video. If you scroll a little bit down, show more info at the video, you'll see it. And if you really like my work, please consider giving me $1 as a tip. I'm sorry to have to start e-begging again, but times are tough, and I will see you all in the next video.